What I've noticed over the last few years is that the industry is shifting towards smaller, leaner, faster crews. Whether you're working in a small market or you're delivering a national campaign, knowing how to do more with less will keep you booked. Today we're going to talk about a few things, mainly revolving around problem solving that will help keep you booked. Lighting, gear, crew management, and some post-production tips. Because in my opinion, if you're a filmmaker, you should be a great problem solver. First, let's talk about why this shift is happening. A lot of times as filmmakers, we want to create something that evokes an emotion. It almost feels like art. As a company, they want to get an ROI on that film and drive results. They want to move product or service. So let's break it down into small market and larger market. If you work in a small or medium-sized market, you may notice that budgets are getting tighter and expectations are getting higher. Clients want the big look without the big price tag. And if you're working in a larger market or on a national campaign, there's always one truth. There's no budget that's high enough. Even on those, clients are wanting more and more deliverables. So why is that? Well, I think the best and easiest way to explain that is the effects of social media. We used to deliver 1:30 for TV, but now we need a 30, a 9x16, a 1x1, a 4x3. Clients are wanting more presence online and they want to be everywhere at once. Historically, companies have a set budget for marketing for the year. So to get more out of that budget, they need to scale back crews and production or get more deliverables out of a single production. And with that thought stream, either less money or more deliverables, filmmakers need to be able to adapt. And the filmmakers that are able to adapt are the ones that stay booked. So what I've noticed for filmmakers is A, you do have to be good at creating a good image or telling a good story, but B, you have to be a good problem solver because problem solving is the skill that pays the bills. Let's talk about camera technology. It's not the limiting factor that it used to be. For example, in 2000, you could really tell the difference between what a consumer or prosumer camera could produce versus what a professional camera could produce. Today, I think you could show the average viewer something that was shot on the FX3 and then something that was shot on the Alexa 35, and a majority of them couldn't tell the difference. So the camera technology is not the bottleneck anymore, especially when a lot of people are consuming content on their phones. As a DP, it hurts a little bit to say, but as a filmmaker, I think it's okay if we're not able to get our dream camera on the gig. I think it's important that we focus on the lighting, staging, and storytelling aspect of the films that we're producing. A perfect example of this is a movie a lot of you probably know, and that's The Creator. The FX3 plus smart lighting, blocking, action, and story can rival a larger package. The second thing I want to talk about is mastering lighting with what you have at your disposal. You don't always need a grip van with you. You need to be very strategic with your lighting. If you're run and gun and you don't have a lot of equipment with you, you need to think image first. And so look for where the best sun is and then find the best framing within where the best light is. If you've got the chance to scout and then build your day around that, take advantage of that. For example, I shot this sequence at the Four Seasons in Japan. I scouted it the day before. I figured out when the sun would be in the best location with the app Sunseeker, dialed in the color with this app that I created called CineTemp, and then I scheduled everything around that. When you're moving fast, one of the best tips I can give you is use practicals that are in the room, windows, or signage for your key. I've done my share of traveling over the years, and something consistent with travel filmmaking is you never have enough gear and you need to think strategically about what you bring. Recently, my go-to recipe has been a couple Molis 500s, a light bank, and then some diffusion. On top of that, I've been using the Axsoon CineView and then using my phone or the M7 Pro as a monitor, just so I can dial in the light whenever we don't have a super large crew. If you don't have the budget, you forgot your diffusion on a shoot, or whatever the case is, you could always run to Walmart and buy this shower curtain. I spent a lot of time testing different shower curtains, and this one was my particular favorite. Obviously, it's plastic, you need to be careful around super hot lights, but what I found is that this particular shower curtain gives you a really nice, soft fall off. In fact, I love the look of this particular shower curtain so much that there's times where I will pick it over an official rag. In the same vein of not always having what we need, here's some budget tips that I've found over the years. So for bounce, a lot of the times I build one of these foam core bounces from Home Depot. In addition to that, I would say keep some high CRI light bulbs in your back pocket. For me, I keep a case of the Aputure bulbs with me, so if I go into a location and either there's a bad LED light or the color temperature is just a little bit off, I can always swap that and then change it myself. To follow that up, if you don't have time or access to run to a Home Depot and build a bounce, you could always use a car window reflector. I used that trick a few years ago on a shoot in Nicaragua, and although it may not be the perfect way to shape a light or the ideal tool, I think the ability to shape the light is more important than what the exact quality of the light is. I think that shines through again in the story and where you place the light. Lastly, let's talk about arguably one of the most important things, and that's negative fill. Now, of course, the industry standard is Duvetine, so if you have a flag or or you have Duvetine, prefer that over these, but some other budget options would be buying some black fabric, like off of Amazon for example, or using a very thick trash bag-like material. I did a lot of research and looking on Amazon, and this is the best one that I found. It's a very thick black plastic. It's very similar to like a construction bag. I've used this on multiple sets, and I used it on a recent short film that we did where we blacked out an entire room. An important note if you're using this, always have some good gaff tape or black paper tape with you so you can adhere it to the window. As a filmmaker, problem solving does not stop on set. It's in the edit as well. So I want to talk about an asset/tip that I found about a year ago that's been very helpful for me in post. Over the years, through all of the different cameras that I've used and shot on, I've collected those LUTs and I have those built into my DaVinci Resolve library. I think that's pretty common for a lot of filmmakers, but I've also focused on building out my sound library. One of the best things that I've found is something that I stumbled on last year, and that's a sound pack by Multiply Sounds. They initially hit me with an Instagram ad, and at first I hesitated because the package itself is a little bit expensive, but I kept thinking about it and I kept mulling it over, and I ended up buying it last year, and I've used it on almost every project since then. Now, what really drew me to this particular sound pack is that everything is keyed. Every once in a while, I'll have a project that has a custom track, but a lot of the times, I'm just picking from a library of pre-existing music. And what this package helped me do was create a semi-custom track. So if I needed a different intro, I could build my own lead-in, or I could build my own bridge, or duck the music in certain ways, and then have my own outro. I come from a musician's background, and everything being keyed just made sense, and I don't know why there hasn't been more of that. Something else that was really cool is they had a behind the scenes, and they showed how they recorded all of this live, so nothing sounds artificial. My workflow basically goes, I download the song, I bring it to an app on my Mac called Keyfinder, it tells me the key of the song, and then I go browse that library from the film score pack. All that being said, I've accumulated a lot of assets over my years, and I've built a system that is easy for me to access and remember, so I would encourage you to do the same thing. Find the packs that you love, build them, integrate them into your system so that you're familiar with them. Whenever you have a tight turnaround, you're able to access and deliver those results faster. At the end of the day, if you're a filmmaker working in the commercial world, it's obviously crucial that you make a good-looking campaign because that reflects on the brand, and that also helps drive results. But I think one of the most undervalued skills is problem solving and time management. Gear is just a tool. Whether you're on a small project or you're on a national campaign, you're always going to have to make it work. Your job is not to get the perfect tools, it's to get the best image and best product out of what's at your disposal and make the client feel like it's effortless. My name's Keaton Nye, I'm a filmmaker. I'm sharing my journey and what I've learned along the way. If you enjoyed this video and want to continue growing together, consider subscribing. This is just the beginning of the conversation.